Deep, thoughtful, and complex. These are the goals that The Midnight Sky is trying to reach. The Midnight Sky, produced, starring, and directed by George Clooney, tells the story of one of the last survivors on Earth after a horrible accident has left the planet uninhabitable, as he tries to make contact with a spaceship coming back from a hopefully habitable world. To do this, he and a young girl must trek across the Arctic and hope to get to a strong enough satellite in time to get the message to the space crew. Films like this, The Martian, and Interstellar are some of my favorite sci-fi movies. Seeing a story presented in a realistic manner in which the plot revolves around survival has always been intriguing to me, and for the most part, The Midnight Sky does a fairly good job. There are a few issues though. Now this is only my second movie I've seen from George Clooney as a director. The other film of his that I've seen was Suburbicon, and that was a giant mess. Basically, the biggest problem with Suburbicon was its lack of knowing what story it wanted to tell. There were two very intriguing stories that would have been great if either one was the main focus, but either due to Clooney's direction or the script, it had no idea what story it was trying to tell. And I'm going to come right out and say it, Midnight Sky does suffer from this too, but nowhere near as bad. I won't go into spoilers, but The Midnight Sky has two plots working off of one another in this film, on Earth and in the spaceship. Now, typically, stories like these would be working in tandem with one another, with each plot helping the other move forward. A great example of this is in The Martian, where you have several plots working together in the goal of getting Matt Damon off of Mars. But here, the biggest problem with the movie is that these two plots do not really work with one another to make the other move forward. That's not to say either is uninteresting, but every time it cuts from one to the other, it almost feels like it's a different movie. The tone is different, the missions are different, it just doesn't feel like they're working together. Not to mention, a little over halfway through, the film seems like it's going to end, then you look at the time and you see you still have a little under an hour left. Then the film basically becomes the other plot for the rest of the film because the first one had basically finished. I have no idea if that's how it is in the book, but here it seems like a really odd choice. The other problem I feel like I should mention is throughout the film, there's moments where we learn about Clooney's past and what made him into who he is at the start of the film. But the problem with that is that they're too few and far between. These moments, if there were more of them, could have been an incredibly emotional tool to get the audience to understand and sympathize with our main character, but as it stands, there's just not enough of it to make it feel justified. Now, it may seem like I'm hating on this film and I think it's pretty bad, but I actually don't. While it does have some structural and narrative problems, its strengths really do make this a good movie. Everything from the performances, its cinematography, to its beautiful score by Alexander Desplat really make this film shine. Clooney clearly wants this to be his big magnum opus, but when you're watching it, you're seeing a director who understands that the epicness of the film is not in its effects, but rather its story and characters. The story of survival in both plots is one that keeps you on your toes and hopeful that they'll all survive. So when shit hits the fan, you're invested. Seeing Clooney wander aimlessly in a blizzard looking for the girl is a genuinely stressful moment and one of my favorite parts of the film. By telling a story of survival through sci-fi, Clooney is able to use set pieces that most other survival films don't. Not only that, but it allows for him to tell a much broader story and show how one thing can affect another. While I don't think he pulled it off as well as The Martian, it's clear he's not trying to make the next Martian. Films like Interstellar know that in order for us to care about the big sci-fi moments, we have to get invested in the story and characters first, which Clooney does pretty well for the most part. If the characters were uninteresting or there wasn't anything for us to get to care about them, then this just would not have worked. Should the film only have focused on what was happening on Earth? Probably, but in the end we get a story about racing against the clock and fighting against impossible odds to save what's left of humanity, and it's done with a good amount of success. The Midnight Sky has amazing performances, great direction from Clooney, a story that's intriguing despite its faults, and a gorgeous score, and it's a film that I would say is definitely worth a watch. I'm going to give The Midnight Sky a 7 out of 10. It's not perfect, but it's one I would say to check out nonetheless. Hey guys, this is Josh. I hope that you enjoyed this different style of review. I don't know if this is how I'm going to be doing it from now on. I just thought that I would try to do something different to shake it up. If you like it, let me know that in the comments below. If there's anything else that you want me to review before the end of the year, let me know as well. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Check out any video essays that I've done, all my other movie reviews, and pretty much everything else I've done. And yeah, I will see you all next time.